You know, it's funny. I never expected to be around, actually, for World War III. And due to the great people of Ukraine, hopefully I won't have to be. For Zangling and salutations, my lovely little lunatics. It's me, your friendly internet talking about that Saturday. Here with my co-host, Bob.
Hello.
And today, on the Insane Report, we are going to be talking about the potential World War III, giving quick update news, and figuring out just what's been going on. This is not something in my wheelhouse. I'm not good with other countries and all that kind of stuff. Usually focus on what's going here at home. But this is something of true, actual worldwide. Well, overall, it's just importance, great importance.
Yep, really hope, well, to all the people in Ukraine going through this, it's truly harrowing. I can never imagine, especially with the people we know, dealing with this the way you have.
It is. It truly shows the difference in the mindset of people. But, anyways, before we continue on, make sure to like and subscribe. And I'm not going to go through the whole rigmarole. If you want to continue watching my videos, you know what to do. But we're just going to jump into it. So, basically, for the longest 30,000-foot overview, as I'm betting all of you know, Russia, Putin, he does not like the fact that basically the old Soviet Union has basically become a shell of its former self, but at the same point in time, they do have a very good stranglehold on some of the energy ability, like natural gas, in in Asia. Now, so he decided, I think I'm going to kind of regain some of that old glory for Russia. And so he went after Ukraine. Originally, he went after Crimea, and the big thing is, Ukraine kind of wanted to join NATO, which is a group, which is national, oh God, I can't even remember. Basically, it's a group of a bunch of nations coming together and say, we shall protect each other. Russia didn't like that because Ukraine's literally on their borders and bringing in weapons that could probably do some damage in case NATO invited them in and all that. So, and the other big thing a lot of people are talking about with this is China using all of this confusion to take out Taiwan, which, to me, that is Ukraine. I honestly don't want to sending in people because, one, it's just how it is. Send in military aid, continue the sanctions and all that, but not send in our own people. Because that's just the end of this. That is World War III started.
Yeah, Russia would not do well with that.
No. It also doesn't seem like they may not be doing well here either. We'll find out in a second. But the whole thing about Taiwan is I think it proves why we need to solely focus on making the U.S. Self-reliant. I mean, we have Alaska, which has so many untapped natural resources. And the other thing is with Taiwan, we lose Taiwan, we lose a large amount of technology we need in an already struggling time. But anywho, that's enough about that. That's enough about my things. We're just going to jump into the news and read what's going on. And here we go. From the Daily Mail, we're going to have started off with a little bit of goodness, which once again, I can't tell if this is fully propaganda or not. But at the same point in time, from what I'm gathering and from what people are reading off and saying, these are some of the things that do seem pretty well true. From the Daily Mail, proof that the Ukrainians are fighting back strong. Ukraine says it has inflicted one of Russia's heaviest ever day of losses with more than 1,000 casualties. Putin losses now stand at 2,800 troops, 80 tanks, 516 armored vehicles as fight back continues.
Good on the people of Ukraine. Once again, it's one of those things where, personally, I can't imagine people here in the U.S. doing it.
Well, the people in the cities.
Oh, yeah. No. If it happened certain areas, I think it would.
Well, that's another reason they'll never invade. I think this just proves how right that statement would be if people tried to actually invade the U.S. But continuing on. Ukraine forces claimed on Friday to have destroyed part of an airfield in South Russia in missile strike Friday. So here's the big thing. That sentence there says a lot more than what the whole thing here does.
And what's that?
That they're actually shooting into Russia.
Oh, Oh, so now they're not just defending themselves. They're going, hey, you wanted to try, shiz? Have some back.
Yup. See, that's the scary thing. One thing that, from what we've been reading, Putin's calling up a bunch of, basically he's getting all the doctors ready. Because here's the big thing. You invaded. It's kind of okay if we shoot back at you.
Yep. Once the lines are crossed, lines really don't mean much anymore. Nope.
Kiev's forces have shot down 7 Russian helicopters, destroyed at least 80 tanks, blitzed up 10 fighter jets. Ukraine military far inferior to its Russian counterpart with an air defense system dating back to the Soviet era. NATO and U.S. have made it clear that no troops will be sent to will be sent and left Ukraine military to hold off the assault alone. Once again, they are not part of NATO. The U.S. is part of NATO. They are not technically an ally. We cannot go in. If we do go in, that is war. That is World War III started. Because, what was it? The Saudis and China are behind Russia. China doesn't like the U.S. China wants Taiwan. We don't want them to have Taiwan. And the Saudis, really, they don't care. They don't care at all. So, if NATO sends people in, doom. That, because the biggest, scariest thing is, as we're going to continue on, Putin really doesn't want to lose this and really wants to make sure no one tries to step it. Continuing on. From the Daily Mail. We are here in Kiev defending Ukraine. President Zelensky posts video of himself as Russian troops advance on the capital after he told the EU leaders, "This may be the last time you see me alive."
Well, he didn't leave.
Yeah, that's a lot more than what I could say for some people. What was it? The guy, the Afghanistan guy. Yeah, no, he took his money and booked it.
Oh, yeah. Well, at the same point in time, Biden horribly bungled that.
Yeah, no, if suddenly Russia showed up with a bunch of our weapons and stuff, then maybe I can understand. Ukraine President I'm not even going to try because I know I'll mess it up. President Zelensky has released a self-shot video from central Kiev on Friday, vowing to stay and defend the capital against the Russian invasion. Zelensky vowed alongside his key aides to keep fighting against Russian military assault to defend Ukraine. Last night, Zelensky warned EU leaders that this might be the last time you see me alive after the embattled president was told that Russian special forces were hunting him down to assassinate him, because once he's gone, they'll put in someone new. He said his family are our second target on the kill list issued by Moscow for senior Ukrainian government officials. It was claimed a squad of Chechnyan Special Forces hunters has been unleashed in Ukraine to detain or kill specific Ukrainian officials.
Well, it makes sense when you're trying to take out actual leadership, and if you can get their families, they'll bow down.
But yeah, once again, it's not so much that they're gonna hey, why don't you become our puppet if we save your family? No, I think it's just to get rid of the family. But, as we can tell, so as we've been reading, not everything, the Ukrainians just didn't roll over and die, and Putin's not really happy.
Furious, Putin prepares to use father of all bombs as brave Ukrainians hold up advance. West warns Russia could have a terror weapon that vaporizes body alongside a massive amphibious assault as invaders run into fierce resistance in Kiev. Well, we have seen some of the footage of the bombs dropping.
Yeah, that one video footage of just a city, and then you see people driving, and then all of a sudden it turns a little bit of sunlight in the middle of the night.
Yeah, could you imagine if that had happened somewhere in Houston back when we lived there?
God, that'd be terrifying. Continuing on.
Brave civilian pictured trying to block Russian military convoy reminiscent of the Tiananmen Square's tankman. Remember when they tried to get rid of that?
Yes, I do. That was so bad. Continuing on.
Came as Putin's forces bared down on capital Kiev with troops and citizens braced for street-to-street battle. Russians thought to be trying to take an airport, allowing them to fly in reinforcements for all-out assault. It came as they suffered heavy casualties elsewhere in the country, though did capture Key Bridge in Kherson. Putin called on the Ukrainian military to turn out their drug addict leaders, but But there seemed to be little sign of that as civilians lined up to collect rifles and help defend the capital. Oh yeah, aren't they not allowing men to leave?
Men between the ages of 16 and 60 are being turned back at the border. You must turn around and defend the country. It's one of those things where, at this point in time, it could swing either way. We don't know. Now, once again, it's Russia versus Ukraine, but the sanctions, the rest of the world's kind of starting to go, okay, maybe we might get in on this kind of thing. It's just one of those things where we don't know. It's like, if this could just be a couple day thing, and then Putin could just get stomped out, or something could happen. So if at this point in time, it is one of those things where you need everyone. I'm sorry. It's just like in Afghanistan. But the thing is, the difference here and there is those people ran because they had nothing that was theirs, because America came in and tried to westernize it, so they had no reason to stay. They weren't connected to their country, but these people are. And you see that difference. Continuing on. From Newsweek, Russia issues ominous warning to Finland and Sweden should they join NATO. Go away. Russia's foreign ministry spokeswoman said that Moscow would have to respond if Sweden and Finland intended to join NATO. Maria I'm not even going to try, held a press conference on Friday and reflected on the ongoing conflict in Ukraine and the intentions of Russia going forward. Russia is starting to realize, there could be a problem here. A clip of her speech has begun to go viral on social media as she appears to issue a threat aimed at Sweden and Finland, saying it would be serious military political repercussions if they join NATO. Finland and Sweden should not base their security damaging the security of other countries. Oh, that's just great to hear from you. During the press conference, clearly the ascension of Finland and Sweden into NATO, which is the first and foremost a military alliance, would have serious military political repercussions that would demand a response from our country.
Yeah, at this point in time, I don't really care.
I wouldn't either. And at the same point in time, this is also them kind of trying to bluster it up, because let's say they join now. Let's just say they joined now because they were afraid of Ukraine. Then they can't do anything against them, because they're already starting to see, oh God, this thing that was supposed to be really simple as we walked into Ukraine and took everything didn't work out the way we thought it would. So, And once again, as you can see, but yeah, like I had a thing on the hackers, but basically the hackers start coming after us from Russia. They're also kind of trying to mess around with our stuff, so we have our own stuff to deal with. But the world is turning against them. We're going to quickly run through these, kind of what the world is doing right now to deal with what the bull Russia is trying to do. Ukraine Foreign Minister tells Anthony Blinken to ban Russia from the SWIFT banking system after Zelensky slammed Biden for watching invasion from a distance, while Congress pushes 600 million weapons packages for Kiev. Basically, without the SWIFT system, their money is really kind of useless, because they can't use it on stuff around the world. They can't use it for the stuff around the world, the huge banking system that we all basically use.
That's kind of terrifying, because then all they have is nukes.
Exactly, but at the same time, we can't walk in with guns. Ukraine's foreign minister urged the U.S. to help secure a ban on Russians using the SWIFT banking network. Kiev has become frustrated as what it seems as a lack of support as Russia troops close on the capital. Blah, 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 took to Twitter to say he had asked Secretary Blinken to help excluding Russia from SWIFT. Earlier, NATO leaders agreed to send thousands of troops to the shore up its eastern frontiers. Meanwhile, U.S. intelligence officials have warned the Ukraine capital could fall within days. That is true, but at the same point in time, the fight is going... I don't know at this point in time. But once again, you are the amount that is... The huge amount that is Russia. That's the big scary thing. Ukraine President Zelensky slammed the United States and its allies for leaving his country to fight alone, which once again, I'm sorry, but the huge freaking thing is that if they go in and you are not part of NATO, World War III. But at the same point in time, if we allow this to be taken,
then that just proves to China and everywhere else that they can continue to do the same.
That is true. That is the problem. The most powerful forces in the world are watching this from a distance. That is the scary thing. Do they have anything on the... Yeah, and lawmakers in the U.S. are proposing a $6 million package of lethal defense weapons for Ukraine. What we're doing with Ukraine is making sure that we have humanitarian assistance to the people, that we have lethal defense weapons going into Ukraine to the tune of $600 million for them to fight on their own. That is one thing. Hey, we're perfectly fine to sell them weapons. But at this point in time, will they get there in time?
Or will it just be Afghanistan all over again?
Yep, but we sold them the weapons. The weapons got there. Oh, the Russians were there already. Continuing on. Russians sanctioned by the world, how world leaders putting the financial thumbscrews on Putin have done nothing to halt the forces rampaging across Ukraine, which, I mean, of course they aren't. They will later down the line, but right now they've probably been, because what was it? Alex Jones said there would be something in February of 2022. There was another, God, I can't remember who it was, but there was another individual, like actual scholared individual who said something about war Russia in 2022. And it's kind of in February and it's come out. Okay, continuing on. As India and China refuse to stop trading, of course China doesn't, because China wants to be part with Russia. So continuing on, Ukraine, later we'll read this. Russia said it is not willing to negotiate with Ukraine's government until the military operation is over. No, not an invasion, military operation. Came after Zelensky called for a sit-down with Putin to end the fighting. Ukraine says Russia has bombed 33 civilian sites in Kiev in the last 24 hours. 2 children have been reported killed in Khalid bombing overnight. Ukraine has banned men aged 18 to 60 from leaving the country to conscript them into the armed forces. Zelensky has allowed anyone from any age to join the armed forces. I remember, there was the picture of the elderly woman.
Yeah, and I remember the whole thing about the Nazis in the area.
Well, there are, but at the same point in time, the Nazis had to go against the Russians. So you can imagine that anywhere there will always be fringe wackos. But Putin saying, that's why we came in, is stupid. Continuing on. So, European has called on Europeans from other countries to come and join the fight. Russia is deploying paratroopers to Chernobyl after capturing it yesterday, Moscow said.
Why are they doing that?
It's a site, it's not just the full area of Chernobyl that is fully radiated beyond belief, but at the same point in time, hey, it could be a good spot. No one's really going to run in there.
Good point.
Ukraine reported anonymous radiation levels at the plant amid fears nuclear storage was breached into the fighting. Oh, that's not good. But Moscow said readings are normal. Of course, Moscow says that. Russia claims to have destroyed 118 Ukrainian military sites in the last 30 hours of fighting. PM Boris Johnson pledged more support is coming for the Ukraine in the coming days, hopefully, before the place gets run over. Johnson shared a phone call with Zelensky on Friday morning. And now we get to the final one. Has Putin overplayed his hand? Brave people of Moscow dare to speak out against Ukraine. Even some of the Russians don't want this. Because once again, the ruble has dived.
Oh yeah, their money is next to worthless.
Yeah, it costs. I think the hilarious thing was the ruble is worth less than Roblox money.
Oh dear God.
Yep. Brave people of Moscow dare to speak out against Ukraine invasion and protests across the country as experts suggest Russia's leaders gamble could see public oust him. Russians ignore warnings that negative comments about the invasions would be treated as treason. Country's only anti-Putin newspaper will publish the next edition in Russian and Ukrainian, says brave editor. Pictures showed Russian police clamping down on anti-war protests in the capital at St. Petersburg. Some of the protesters were shown being carried away by multiple police officers. Some were armored. Russian officers detained over 1,702 people during the anti-war protests in 53 cities across the country. No one else really wants this other than the top people in Russia, China, top people in China. They want it. The problem is I honestly do believe it's one of those things. They could take Ukraine, and maybe in a couple years everyone forgets about this, or it could end up becoming World War III. Because once again, if we allow this to happen, that's just to say the whole reason this is happening is because what Biden bungled in Afghanistan. There is a reason this didn't happen under Trump, because Trump basically said, you do this, I will bomb you. He said that. Yeah, he said that to Kim Jong-un or Kim Jong-il. And they realized, and they were like, oh, he really wouldn't. Oh, it's Trump. He may actually do that. The problem is we have Biden, who automatically was like, no, globalism, everything will be fine, and suddenly it's not. This is truly terrifying. I can't even begin to imagine how bad it is in Ukraine, and God, I hope I never have to. But this is going to be one of those things. This is going to be one of the great moments of my lifetime. This is one of the things that, between this and COVID.
Yeah. Well, honestly, we don't really have much more to say to this.
No, we don't. It's like, because once again, I just read the news and kind of figure out what's going on, but I really hope this is over soon in a good way. Or I hope people get a spine and countries get a spine and decide that, hey, okay, well, I once again, I'm back and forth. We need to start getting people into NATO so that this doesn't happen. But anywho, I hope the best for the people of Ukraine. I hope Putin realizes that this is going to get a lot worse, and maybe he comes to his senses and decides, darn it, I made a mistake. But I don't believe so, especially if it gets worse. For him, he's just going to probably double down on it because he can't be seen as weak. But anywho, that'll be the end of this little video. If you like this video, then, once again, come back for more, and I will see you all later. Bye, everyone.
Bye.